A major checkpoint of both the offseason and the college football preseason, it's ACC Kickoff.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. As always, terms apply. Happy Thursday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, today is Thursday. NC State made their appearance at ACC Kickoff down in Charlotte. I was in the house. It's one of my favorite events of the entire offseason because it usually means football is not far behind. We know that fall camp starts, I believe it is next Wednesday. Just under about a week from now, football is essentially officially here. But first, the NC State Wolfpack had their opportunity to talk with the media at ACC Kickoff. We'll start here with a video from Dave Doeren's press conference. It's actually a question that I asked him. Let's tee this up.
Coach, these last couple of years, your team has talked about wanting to be different, doing things that take this program to the next level. What have you seen from your guys this year in 24 that might prove that they are different?
Well, we're about to hit the grass on Wednesday. And so, I think every day we're out there, it's a measuring stick. It is. And we're one of 5 programs over the last 4 years that have won 8 or more games in college football. And so we've sustained a level of competitive greatness that not many people have been able to do. With that being said, we want to win a championship. And so different is that. It's taken the program from the second most wins since 2020 to winning the league. And that is different. And so, what we did last year and the year before was good. Winning 9 games is good. We don't want to be good. We want to be the best at what we do. And so these guys understand that. We've talked a lot about what it looks like to be the best and how do we do that, and using the voice of the players to describe that. And then what does it not look like? What do we need to stay away from? What do we need to safeguard our program from? And so, there's been a lot of discussion. There's obviously been a lot of hard work by these guys and our staff as we evaluate our schemes to utilize the roster talent and to utilize the coaching talent that we have and to be integrated together in that. And so each day it's really a challenge. You go out there day by day just trying to be better than you were. A year ago Wednesday when we started camp, that's a measuring stick to where we're going to be when we start camp on this Wednesday. And it's everything. It's how the grades come in from the summer. It's what Thunder says about the summer workouts. It's what Justin Smith says about the guys in the training room. It's when I go down to the nutrition area and ask how the guys are doing. All the comments add up, and so you're always looking for signs of improvement and signs where, hey, we need to call this up. We need to talk about this. We're better than this. And just holding each other accountable to what we want. We want to be elite. And that means everything that we do can't cut corners. It's got to be something that we push forward together.
A couple minutes there from Coach Doeren. Kenton, what are your thoughts about those remarks?
Yeah, so I look at that and I say, he's absolutely right. There's absolutely something there that this team has to be different. They have to be a team that, shows up and does things in a way that, objectively speaking, is not what has gotten them the same results as before. We're talking about a team that has, like you said, second most wins, all that stuff is good. Consistency in there with the big dogs in terms of who's won 8 games straight and all that. Great. You have reset the floor. Love it. Amazing. Reset the ceiling. Like you said, it takes being different. I have always said, always argued, and I still believe to this day, I have never met a champion. I've never met somebody who was great that was not a little unhinged. That was not a little like, there's something off there, because that's what it takes to be a champion. If you are blending in, melding in, molding in with everybody, melting in, molding in with everybody, that means that you are not off enough to be different, to differentiate yourself from the pack. That's what you have to do. And so with that in mind, again, if this team is either going to be different, going to be special, or it's going to be a same old NC State year. It's all to be said. Like you said, they're going to hit the grass soon, and that'll answer these questions.
It's the old adage, to get to where you've never been, you have to do what you've never done before. And that is literally the epitome of this team in 24. They've added in all the pieces from the transfer portal. We've talked completely ad nauseum about all the buzz surrounding this program, all the preseason expectations, the CFP odds, the ACC championship odds, all of it. And they're fully aware of this as they enter the season here in just about a month left to go. They know that they have to take it up a notch because they simply have not been able to reach that 10-win ACC championship threshold quite yet. And so you have the relatively soft schedule. You have, honestly, probably the best coaching staff you've ever had in the history of the program. Maybe that sounds crazy, but I fully believe that to be true. You look at Robert and you look at Tony Gibson, all the support staff, the recruiting staff, they're firing on all cylinders. And that's why NC State has so much momentum right now as they enter the 2024 season. But things have to be different. And I remember Coach Doeren last year said sometimes it's one play, sometimes it's one player. This year, it might take a couple plays and a couple players because you have got to get over that hump and break through to that next level and find yourself in Charlotte, not once this year, but twice this year.
Yeah, the goal for this team should be leaving no doubt. The goal for this team should be making it so that, everybody says, oh, this is the same old NC State team. They're going to step on the rail, all that good stuff. The goal for them should not be to talk about the past, talk about any of that. Talk about today, every day. Because, again, I've said about this team, if they're playing their best and their opponents are playing their best game, there are maybe two that can compete with this team. Maybe. That's it. That's it. Nobody else is at that level to where I'm like, hey, if you're playing your best, they're playing their best, they've got a shot. Now, there are every team on the schedule darn near. If you go into it thinking, oh, we should sleepwalk through this, and oh, we should dominate, it could get ugly for you. So it's that being different that Doeren talked about. Because in the past, there's always something. There's always some group that had their worst moment of their lives when the team needed them most. Can't happen this year.
Another question that one of the other reporters asked that I found fascinating is he was asking Coach Doeren, the tagline for ACC is accomplished greatness. He was asking Coach Doeren, what does greatness look like for NC State? And he got right to the point. He said, well, we're trying to hold a trophy at the end of the season. And today, because Syracuse, Clemson, and UNC were there, it was interesting listening to the other answers to that similar question because none of them had that same ferocity that Coach Doeren had. They want to hold a trophy at the end of the season. For some programs, It's, blanket statement, we want to win. We want to put all the pieces together. We want to compete at a high level. We want to hold ourselves accountable. Doeren said, no, we want to hold a trophy. It has been long enough. We've been chasing this for long enough. It's time that we hold the trophy. You can feel the urgency through the microphone of not only Coach Doeren, but the players we'll get to in just a couple minutes. They know what's at stake here in 24, and it just gets you that much more amped up for this thing to kick off here in a couple of weeks. As always, it was very interesting to hear everything Doeren had to say. Some of it is relatively coach speak, as you come to expect, but there was like a small energy that you could feel off of Coach Doeren this year that was a little bit different. Kind of to my question, he felt like almost a little bit lighter. He knows the expectations, but he's not allowing them to weigh him down and get too bogged down in what we're supposed to do rather than what this team is. And I found that to be very impressive. So Coach Doeren certainly knows the stakes. Wolfpack fans certainly know the stakes. Coming up next, we're going to get into what the players had to say at ACC Kickoff. Our Thursday sponsor is Gametime. Gametime is the authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. This makes getting tickets even faster and easier for MLB games all summer long. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. So with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Using their last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. Toggling their all-in pricing feature will show your total upfront with zero surprises at checkout. And as always, you can get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect upon arrival. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account and use redeem code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Second half of our ACC Kickoff review here on Thursday. Now getting into the players. Transfer quarterback Grayson McCall, transfer running back Jordan Waters, and senior defensive end Davin Vann. We talked at length about how these three were the correct choices to bring down to ACC Kickoff. And I tell you what, Kenton, they blew me away. Truly. The leadership that you could feel radiating off of them proved exactly why they're not only good representatives of the university in an event like this, but more than likely going to be captains once this thing kicks off in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. Like you said, those young men are all extremely well spoken, and they're all very different. Their speech, in terms of their personalities, it radiates through their speech, right? When you think about Grayson McCall, he's a very even keel guy, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and you can tell that by the way that he, answers these questions. He's like, hey, he's, a college version of a pro's pro. And then you've got Jordan Waters, who's a guy that's a little bit more emotional, a little bit more, but he, in his own right, is very charming, very lovable, very, he has that very down-home country way about him that makes you want to hear him talk, makes you want to hear, it feels like he can tell you a 10-minute story about the one time he went fishing, and you're going to want to hang on to every word. And then Davin Vann, who is so articulate. I mean, when he speaks as if that's a future senator, that's a future congressman standing in front of you. Listen, don't hate me. That's not a bad thing, or that didn't used to be a bad thing, at least. Okay, his way of speaking is very polished. He speaks from the heart, but it's also very polished in the way that he says what the goals for the team, what the goals for himself are. And these are three gentlemen, like you said, all three of them and Doeren are all talking about the same thing: holding trophies. I didn't hear one single player say, our goal is just to get better, and wherever things fall, they fall. Everybody knows what the goal is, what the expectation is, and everybody's marching the same line, marching to the beat of the same drum in terms of getting there. So it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, Davin Vann was talking about his decision to return to NC State was revolving largely around he felt he had unfinished business. He felt this program has more to do. He had more to accomplish as an individual, and that led him to choose NC State for one more season. Jordan Waters was a true joy, and we've talked a little bit about how the team's been raving about his personality, but seeing it there on the stage, he is honestly very funny. Not even trying to be funny, but he is just very unintentionally funny. And he got up there and said how he had beaten Coach Doeren in a fishing contest, I guess, and then about 10 minutes later in the breakout room said, actually, I lied, after Doeren pressed him a little bit. The personality just feels like it's a seamless fit into the culture. And then McCall, we've talked a lot about how I've been so impressed with his leadership so far throughout the spring and into the summer. Here's another clip I'll show you from this conference where I asked him what it means to him to be a leader of this program.
Grayson Boone, Locked On Wolfpack. Grayson, talk about what it's like being in a new program, your last year of college football eligibility, and you're being tasked as a leader. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's refreshing to be in a new spot, and an unbelievable opportunity for me to put on the red and black and represent NC State. So, first of all, just extremely excited for the opportunity that Coach Doeren's given me. And as an older guy, I know that's that's my responsibility, especially as the quarterback, is to lead the guys, set the example, come in every day and show them how it's done. And the transition was really smooth, and those guys kind of showed me how we do it in Raleigh. And now that I know the standard and know what we do, now it's my expectation and my job, my responsibility to come in every day and lead the guys. And that starts, obviously with my actions, and then being more vocal on the field and just leading those guys in the right direction every day.
We're going to have to give McCall a pass for saying the red and black instead of red and white. But hey, some of our best combinations largely involve black. So yeah, he definitely gets a pass for that. But just the leadership, you can feel it coming through your screen. He knows what he was brought here to do. He knows all of his responsibilities as a quarterback, as one of the older people on this team. When somebody needs to be pushed in the right direction, he's going to be the guy to do it. And that's going to bleed out all over the field this fall.
Yeah, and like I said, that very even keelness, that calm, poised leadership, it's right there in that statement, right? Come in, do it the right way. But I also learned how they do it in Raleigh. That's the sign of a true leader. Somebody who doesn't come in and say, hey, you guys don't know what you're doing. I'm setting the thing up how I want. He comes in and says, okay, what do we have here? How do we do things? All right, excellent. What tweaks do we make to improve it? What do I do to show that I'm the leader of the way of doing this thing? And he does it. That's a special thing right there. And that's ultimately why I look at him and I'm like, hey, this is a guy that's very much so poised to be as much as we talk about longevity and having quarterbacks for years, even if there is a 1-year rental, quote unquote, situation here, it's a damn good one because, again, this guy understands it. He knows what it means to be a leader. He knows that a leader is really in service to the people who are following him. And he's got that temperament of, I'm here to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm not here to be the superstar. I'm not here to be 50 touchdown. I'm here to do my job.
And not just learning about, quote unquote, how they do it in Raleigh. That screams culture to me. He wanted to learn about the culture before he got really assimilated in any type of way. He wanted to know what this program is built on so then he can take that and then apply it himself. That is the shape and form of a leader. And yeah, you mentioned the 1-year rental. Listening to all three of these guys, you wish we could have them for another 4 years. I would kill, just based on what I've heard so far, he's still going to have to prove it on the field. I would kill to have Grayson McCall be our quarterback for another 3 or 4 years. Jordan Waters as well. A senior leader in that backfield is something that we haven't had much of in the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of these guys have been younger guys, haven't been able to really get it done on the ground. But with Jordan Waters, you feel like you can hand it to him 25 times a game. He's going to make an impact regardless of the opponent. So the 2 transfers and Davin Vann really left an imprint on both myself and I'm assuming Wolfpack Nation as a whole for ACC Kickoff on Thursday. We'll keep this one relatively short. We're going to get back to you all on Friday for Fan Friday, but those are our overall thoughts about ACC Kickoff down in Charlotte. Drop us your thoughts. Get down in the comments. Tell us what you thought. If you watched the press conference in totality, tell us what else stuck out to you, whether it was Doeren with the 3 players, maybe the clips that we showed you on here. What jumped out to you based on what you've heard about how exciting these guys are to be suiting up for the Wolfpack here in 2024? Be sure to hit that like button, mash that subscribe button. We will see you all on Friday. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.